The scent of rain-soaked pavement and exhaust fumes. That's the smell of my past. It's the smell of the day my dad left for work and never came back. A hit and run. No witnesses, no justice, just a void where my hero used to be. For 10 years, that void was my entire world. I became an obsessive student of theoretical physics, not for fame or for science, but for one single impossible goal: to go back. To stop him from leaving the house that morning, to change one tiny moment and rewrite my entire life, and I did it. After years of sleepless nights, scribbled equations, in a machine that hummed with the energy of a captured star, I found myself standing on that same familiar street 10 years in the past. The air was colder, the city felt younger, and my heart was hammering against my ribs. I was a ghost in my own history, an anomaly armed with a desperate plan. The rules were simple. Don't interact with anyone, don't change anything other than that one moment, and get out. I was just there to leave a note, slash a tire, fake a kill anything to keep my dad home. I found my family's old apartment building, a wave of nostalgia so strong it almost knocked me over. I saw my younger self, a scrawny kid with scraped knees, chasing a stray cat. It was surreal. I pulled my hoodie down, my face hidden in shadow, and waited for the right moment. The plan was to intercept him as he walked to the subway. But as I lurked in the alleyway across the street, a voice cut through the city noise. "You're not from around here, are you?" I froze. My blood ran cold. Standing there, leaning against the brick wall with an almost lazy confidence, was a boy. He couldn't have been much older than I was, with eyes that seemed to hold a galaxy of secrets. He had this unruly dark hair and a worn-out denim jacket that looked like it had seen its own share of stories. I tried to play it cool, mumbling something about being lost, but he just smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was a smile that said, "I know." "It's the way you stand," he continued, pushing off the wall and taking a step closer. "Like you're braced for a punch the world hasn't thrown yet. In your eyes, you're looking at everything like you're seeing a memory, not a moment." My carefully constructed plan was shattering. I was supposed to be invisible. Who was this kid? He wasn't in any of my memories, not on this street, not on this day. He introduced himself as Kale, just Kale. He didn't ask for my name, which was a relief. Instead, he asked a question that made my world tilt on its axis. "Who are you trying to save?" Stared at him, speechless. How could he possibly know? Was I that obvious? He seemed to read the panic on my face. "Don't worry," he said, his voice softening slightly. "Your secret's safe. But you should know, tinkering with time. It's like throwing a rock into a still lake. The ripples go everywhere and you can't control where they stop." He actually knew about time travel. He wasn't a physicist, was just a kid in an alleyway, but he spoke with the certainty of someone who had seen those ripples firsthand. He explained that some people are more sensitive to the temporal currents, people who can spot the anomalies, the paradoxes, people like him. He told me he'd seen others like me before, ghosts from the future, all trying to fix a broken past, and all failing in ways they never imagined. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to ignore him and stick to my mission. My dad's life was on the line. But Kale's words echoed with a chilling truth. He wasn't trying to stop me. He was trying to warn me. He pointed down the street. "Your dad's about to come out. You could stop him. You could save him. But have you thought about what happens next? What the universe will take in exchange?" In exchange? I thought I was just correcting a mistake, not making a deal with the cosmos. As if on cue, the front door of my building opened, and there he was. My dad. Alive, younger, healthier, a smile on his face as he locked the door behind him. The sight of him stole the air from my lungs. 10 years of grief, anger, and longing crashed over me. This was it. My one chance. I could run out right now, create a distraction, and he'd be safe. But Kale's question hung in the air. What would be the cost? I hesitated, and in that moment of hesitation, I saw it. A little girl, no older than 5, chasing a red ball that had bounced into the street. She was directly in the path of a speeding delivery truck. My dad saw her too. Without a second thought, he dropped his briefcase and sprinted into the road, pushing her out of the way just in time. The truck screeched to a halt inches from where he stood. The little girl was safe, crying in her mother's arms. And my dad? He was a hero. It wasn't a hit and run. It was a choice. He chose to save a child's life. If I had stopped him from leaving the house, that little girl, she would be gone. The ripple effect Cale warned me about, it wasn't a random tragedy. It was a sacrifice. My entire mission, my 10 years of obsession, it was all based on a misunderstanding. The pain was still there, but now it was mixed with a profound, heartbreaking sense of pride. I turned to look at Cale, my face wet with tears. I hadn't realized I was crying. He was watching me with an expression of deep empathy. Sometimes he said softly, "Saving someone means letting them go. The past is made of choices, not mistakes. You can't unchoose for them." He was right. My dad had made his choice, a hero's choice. And who was I to take that away from him? To take that little girl's life in exchange for my own happiness? My mission was over, but something new was beginning. I wasn't just a grieving daughter anymore. I was someone who had pierced the veil of time and come face to face with its terrifying, beautiful complexity. And I wasn't alone. Cale stood beside me, a stranger who understood my impossible secret. He wasn't from my past, but suddenly he felt like my future. He told me there were others who watched the timelines, a hidden network trying to protect history from those who would rewrite it for selfish reasons, and from the unintentional damage caused by people like me. He offered me a new choice: go back to my own time, to the void my dad left behind, or stay. Stay with him and learn. Learn about the ripples, the currents, the rules of this impossible science that I had only just scratched the surface of. I came back in time to save my dad, to fix my past. But standing there, watching my hero make his final, noble choice, I realized I couldn't change what happened. But maybe, just maybe, I could change what happens next. The past was set in stone, but the future was an unwritten page. And for the first time in 10 years, I wasn't afraid to write it. My journey wasn't over. It had just begun. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold. If you enjoyed this trip through time, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what happens next. I'll see you in the next one. You just broke time. I stared at Ezra like my brain had short-circuited. He leaned against the hallway wall like this was the most normal thing in the world. Like teenage boys just casually appeared in the past. "What are you doing here?" I whispered. "Good question," he said. "Better question, what are you doing here?" "This is my house," I snapped. "You're the one who's not supposed to be here." He glanced around the living room, at the marble floors and giant staircase. "Wow," he muttered. "So this is what billionaire daughter life looks like?" "You didn't answer my question?" Ezra scratched the back of his neck. "Look, Jotty said the watch might react weirdly." "Weirdly," I repeated. "Like someone else touched it before the jump." My stomach dropped. "You touched it?" "Well, yeah," he said. "I was trying to see if it was real." I groaned and covered my face. Great, fantastic. Now I'm stuck in the past with the most annoying person in the universe. "Hey," he said, offended. "I didn't ask to come on this field trip." Footsteps echoed in the kitchen. My dad's voice: "Abigail, was that you?" Panic shot through me. "Hide," I hissed. Ezra blinked. "Where?" "Anywhere." He dove behind the couch just as my dad walked into the room. He looked exactly the same. Perfect suit, perfect hair. "Like the world hadn't collapsed yet, Abigail," he said. "Aren't you supposed to be at school?" My brain scrambled for an answer. I felt sick. He frowned slightly. "Your driver said you never got in the car." "Must have misunderstood," I said quickly. Before he could respond, heels clicked across the floor. Kimberly appeared in the doorway, wearing yoga clothes that probably cost more than my entire Foster wardrobe. She said, spotting me. "The child's home. Her name's Abigail," Dad said. Kimberly smiled sweetly. "Of course, Annabelle." Behind the couch, Ezra snorted. Loudly, my dad froze. Did the couch just laugh? My heart nearly stopped. I coughed loudly. "Allergies," I said. "Dusty couch?" Dad looked confused, but eventually shrugged. "I'm heading to the office," he said. "Try to actually go to school tomorrow." The moment he left, Ezra popped up from behind the couch. "Annabelle?" he whispered. "Seriously?" I shoved him. "Shut up," he grinned. "You know, I thought you were exaggerating about the evil step-girlfriend. Think she's not my step anything. Relax," he said. "I believe you now." I crossed my arms. "Good, because we have a mission." He raised an eyebrow. You came with me, remember? Congratulations. You're part of the Save My Dad squad. Ezra flopped onto the couch. Hard pass. You can't just sit here, why not? This house has like 12 bathrooms. I grabbed his hoodie sleeve and yanked him up. Because if I don't stop him from getting arrested, my whole life falls apart. Ezra studied me for a moment. The teasing faded from his eyes. Okay, he said quietly. What's the plan? I hesitated. That's the problem. I've tried warning him before. It made things worse. So don't warn him, Ezra said. Then what? He shrugged. Figure out why he's doing it. That thought stopped me cold. Why? I'd always assumed greed, ego, whatever rich CEOs usually had. But later that night, Ezra and I sat on the floor of my bedroom surrounded by papers from Dad's office that I'd technically borrowed. Okay, Ezra said, pointing at a document. Look at this. What? Your dad's company was about to crash 3 years ago? My stomach twisted. What? He took out huge loans to keep it running, Ezra said. If the company collapsed, thousands of people would lose their jobs. I blinked. That doesn't make sense. The news said he stole the money. Maybe, Ezra said slowly, he was trying to fix something first. For the first time, doubt crept into my chest. Maybe I didn't know the whole story. Over the next few days, Ezra and I basically became undercover detectives. We snuck into Dad's office. We read emails. We even followed Kimberly once, which mostly involved her shopping for 3 hours. One afternoon, we ended up at my school's football game. The bleachers were packed with students, music blasting, everyone cheering. Ezra looked around like he'd landed on another planet. You went to school with this many people? He asked. Yeah. And you're telling me you hated it? Sometimes. He laughed. You're weird. We sat there for a moment, watching the game lights glow against the night sky. Then he glanced at me. You know, you're different here. What do you mean? You're not the angry version of you. I nudged him. I'm always amazing. He smiled slightly. No, you're just lighter. My heart did a weird little flip. Don't get used to it, I said. But the truth was, I didn't hate having him there. The next morning, everything changed. Ezra burst into my room holding his laptop. Abby, look. On the screen was an email. From Kimberly to a man in another company. Subject line made my stomach drop. Payment confirmed. He'll take the fall. What does that mean? I whispered. Ezra scrolled down. It means, he said quietly, someone set your dad up. My heart started racing. Kimberly, yeah, but why? Ezra turned the laptop toward me. Another message popped up. This one from the same man. Once Carter's arrested, the company is ours. Silence filled the room. They're stealing the company, I said. And framing your dad for it, Ezra added. For the first time, hope flickered inside me. Maybe Dad wasn't the villain. Maybe he was the target. I grabbed the golden watch from my nightstand. Then we stop them, I said. Ezra frowned. How we expose Kimberly, and if we're wrong, hesitated. Then I met his eyes. Then I lose everything again. He stared at me for a long moment. Finally, he sighed. You know, this is insane, right? Yep. He stood up. What? I blinked. You're helping me? He shrugged. Someone has to keep you from accidentally destroying the timeline again. I laughed. For the first time in weeks. But just as we started planning the watch and my hand suddenly began to glow. Brighter than before, the dial started spinning wildly on its own. Ezra's smile faded. Abby, I didn't touch anything. The golden light exploded across the room. And then the watch spoke in a mechanical whisper. Final jump activated. My blood ran cold. What final jump? I said. But the watch only repeated the words. Timeline correction required. Ezra grabbed my hand. Abby, I think time's about to send us somewhere. The light swallowed the room. And just before everything disappeared, I realized the dial had stopped on one date, 3 years in the future, the day my dad was arrested.